So you want to get into the occult. In this video, we're going to talk about what the occult is, what you actually do when you're dabbling in the occult, when you're working with it. We're going to talk about what the occult isn't. We're going to talk about what you can achieve, what you can gain, and I'm going to give you some recommendations on where and how to start. My name's Rueckert, and I've been studying and practicing the occult for the past 5 years. So the first thing I want to talk about is the term occult. It sounds scary. It's been portrayed as scary. And we talked a little bit about this in, I think it was my very first video. And that was roughly a year ago. So the occult sounds scary, but it's not. All it means, all the word, the occult, all the occult means is hidden. Occult knowledge, hidden knowledge, that's all it is. And in my 5 years of study, I can tell you with 100% certainty, all the occult is personal development. And I don't want that to sound anticlimactic or lackluster. I'm not saying that it's bullshit. I'm saying that it's been hyped up as evil and scary and like you're dabbling with demons and shit. It can be that if you want. It can be anything you want, and I'll explain why. But that's not what it's about. All it is the OG, the original personal development. The goal, the ultimate goal of the occult, of spirituality, is to know thyself. That's all it is. Now I say that's all it is, but you will find that the more you know yourself, and I'm not talking about your name, your occupation, where you live, how much money you have. I'm talking about the inner self, who, and more importantly, what you truly are. The more you know yourself, the more powerful you will find yourself to be. I'm not going to say the more powerful you will become, because what you will learn, and I can promise you this, what you will learn is that you are always powerful. Now, I'm going to say this because the occult has a negative connotation. And I think there's probably a lot of people who want to get into the occult because they want to have power over people. But that's not the kind of power I'm talking about. Once you know who you are, once you delve down this rabbit hole of learning who and what you are, you will learn that you are powerful, that you've always been powerful, but that power will be over yourself. And you also learn that that is the greatest power. I think the simplest analogy I can give you is that old saying, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, teach a man to fish and will eat for eternity, the rest of his life, or however you want to put it. That's what we're doing here. So I know there's probably a lot of people who are drawn in by the aesthetic allure of what we call the occult. And set out to achieve short-term goals. Goals that are based in lack. I don't have enough. I am not enough. So if I make a pact with a demon or something, maybe I can steal some power back. Sure, go for it. See how far it gets you. But if you learn who you are, if you teach yourself to fish, you'll realize that you were never in lack, that all of that is an illusion. And you don't need to take power back. You don't need to have power over people. It's short-sighted. Okay, so what will you be doing? Let's say this is your initiation. You're signed up. Put me down for the mailing list. I'm an occultist, or whatever you want to call yourself. Like, that's just a term that is often used. You don't have to use that term. I'm here to tell you that you can just as easily call yourself a philosopher, a spiritualist, a light worker. Doesn't matter. You can be a wizard, a sorcerer, a warlock, a witch. I don't give a shit. And it doesn't matter. You can be none of those things. You don't have to label yourself at all. You can just say you're into personal development with an understanding that that goes beyond the physical. Because I am talking about going beyond the physical. What does that mean? That means working in the mental world as well as the spiritual world. Even if you feel like the spiritual world, bro, what does that mean? I'm not sure I'm ready for that. Just the acknowledgement that there is a mental world, and it is just as important, if not more important, than the physical world. Boom, that's a huge step. The science is catching up to this. The cold, hard, physical science is catching up to this. We are learning more and more. It is being proven more and more that what we think and what we feel either creates our reality or influences how we perceive it. And I would say, does it matter which? If you have a thought that creates your reality, or you have a thought that makes you see your reality in a certain way, and either way the end result is your life is shit, does it matter whether you create your reality or you're just seeing it in a different light? My answer to that is no, it doesn't matter. I don't particularly care how the sausage is made, as long as the sausage tastes good. Okay, so we're dealing with stuff like, if we want to be purely physical for a moment, you may have heard of the reticular activating system. To put it really simply, it's the filter of the brain. It's a little part of the brain that goes, dude, all this information coming in at once, this is too much. I can't give you everything. I have to filter out the important parts. So it runs it past your belief system. So if your belief system says, I have trouble earning money, I am separate from the class of people who are rich, I can never be rich, or I'm not worthy of love, I will never find love, I don't have a support system, whatever string of negative beliefs you want to throw in on this analogy. If that is your belief system, then the reticular activating system is going to go, cool, that's what we'll send you then, because that's the efficient option. Right? If your brain is used to something, if the pathways are already linked, built, why would the reticular activating system try to challenge that? It wants an efficient system. So it's going to feed you the stuff you're going to accept. This is mindset shit, right? Like if you've ever seen a mindset coach or whatnot. And as a side note, I am trained to do this kind of work. Coaching, mindset, both personal and business. So the brain is just a tool. It's just a database. It's a hard drive. And it's trying to run an efficient system. Which is why when it rains, it pours, both in the positive and the negative. So this is just the physical explanation of why this works, of why when you see, let's say you want to buy a new car, let's make it really, I don't know, obvious and striking. I want to buy a red convertible. And you start looking at ads, right? And then suddenly everywhere you go, you start seeing red convertibles. And this has been happening for me for the past month. I like the idea of a Suzuki Jimny. I like small cars, but I want a four-wheel drive as well. And I swear to Christ, man, I'm seeing like 6 Jimnys a day, and it's not just on the road. My friend sent me a photo the other day, and they just happen to be a Jimny in the photo. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Everywhere I go, I'm seeing Jimnys left and right. Is this because I'm manifesting them? Or because my reticular activating system is going, well, you know, you're clued into the Jimny now, so I'm going to show you all the Jimnys. They were there all along, conceivably. I'm just noticing them now. So I would say it doesn't matter, certainly doesn't matter to me, whether I'm creating the Jimnys in my reality or whether I'm just noticing them now. The result is I'm seeing Jimnys everywhere. Because I'm now focusing on that idea. Okay, so regardless of why it's happening, we can start to accept that what we think and what we feel is creating our reality. So the occult then is the practice of really just being your own mindset coach, of deciding what you want and training your expectations to receive it. Now, traditionally, if we want to go to a really traditional, maybe even you could argue archaic idea of the occult, we're delving into rituals, right? And there's nothing wrong with rituals. Humans are built for rituals. We do it all the time. Even if you're a cold, hard, stone cold atheist, hate to break it to you, you still engage in rituals on a daily basis. You just maybe don't connect them to God or whatever. And also, side note, it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter whether you believe in God, an all-knowing universe. Truly, this stuff is not exclusive. And that's what I would warn you against. Any system or any person saying the power is external to you and like this is the only path, your power is never external. And the more you get to know yourself, like I said at the beginning, the more you get to know yourself, you realize that you had the power all along. The power is always internal. It's never out there. It's in here. So while you do need to seek, you're not seeking out there. You don't have to go on a physical journey to find it. It's an internal journey. You get to know yourself. Okay, so we're training our mind to look for the things that we want. And they will either get created or we'll just start seeing that they were there all along. And it doesn't really matter which. And this is where we get like deep into the idea of modern manifestation. I talk about manifestation a lot on this channel if you're new to the channel. And really I'll be perfectly honest, I just use that word because it's palatable. But it doesn't matter what you call it. Like I said, you want to be a witch, a wizard, a sorcerer, philosopher, an alchemist. It doesn't matter. So what you'll be doing is training your brain. And like I said, rituals can help. Rituals do it, affirmations, whatever. The technique doesn't matter at all. So again, if you're new, I'm not a technique peddler. Maybe I'll share the odd thing here and there, but whatever works for you is what will work. There is no silver bullet. There is no latest, greatest technique, let's go. So what can you do? You can become happier. You can become more content. Meditation is something I recommend. General mindfulness. And more than anything, you will find that momentum will change your life. You know when you just have a fantastic day and it feels like you become more confident and you find yourself talking to people in a different way and you're like, wow, where's this coming from? Imagine living like that most of the time. Gotta say, it's pretty spectacular. Okay, so what is the occult not? Now I'm going to preface this section by saying the occult can be the things I'm about to tell you. But in my opinion, from my research, I firmly believe that to follow this path is not just limiting yourself and doing yourself a disservice, but it's also, maybe obviously, harmful. So I know there's some of you out there who may be clicking on this video and going, "Ooh, yeah, I want to summon demons and shit." Cool. Can you? I believe you can. That being said, if you don't buy into that stuff, then it doesn't exist. Let me explain it from this perspective. I talk to a lot of people who are worried about negative energy. Oh, I've got an entity attached to me. You know, oh, you got to be careful with that because you don't want to summon something that's going to hurt you or whatnot, or this person's throwing negative energy at me. Okay. Sure. If you accept that reality, then it's reality. So if you're concerned with protecting yourself from evil or negative energy or whatnot, I'm going to tell you straight up, I wouldn't bother with protection charms or any of that. It's only going to hurt you if you believe that it will hurt you. So quite literally, we can run a don't believe, don't receive policy. And that's another thing, and I'll admit I get stuck in this as well. The occult is not heavy, grandiose, fate of the world, spiritual war kind of stuff. It is, if that's what you accept. But it is not inherently. And I would say the healthiest path is to not accept that stuff. This stuff can be fun and light. We're here to play. We're here to play and create, not to struggle and fight wars that don't exist. So this is a message for both those of you who may want to summon demons, let's say, and those of you who may identify as light workers, who want to protect and fight evil or whatever. The struggle, the fight, is what creates what you're fighting. So what I would encourage you once again is just focus on learning who you are, learning what you are. That is the whole of the work. So if there's someone in your life who really bothers you, who's causing you distress, who makes you feel a certain way even when they're not in your presence, they're living rent-free in your brain. The goal is not to bind that person, or repel that person, or change that person. The goal is to go within and learn why it is affecting you, and learn how you can change to improve that situation. And not change such that you're bowing to their will. Change such that what their behavior, such that, sometimes English is hard, guys. Change such that their behavior no longer affects you. Water off a duck's back. So this is what I really want to stress. And like I said, I get stuck in it too. Because it's cool, right? It's cool, it's aesthetic to be like, I'm a fucking wizard and I'm gonna fight evil and whatever, or fuck everyone and, you know, summon demons on your asses. It's kind of cool. I'll admit it. But life isn't that heavy. And shouldn't be. The only reason struggle exists is because we humans create it. Because we're bored. It's like, imagine playing a video game where there's no adversary, where there's no challenge, where all you have to do is decide to win and you win. That's the real world. That's the world we're living in. But that's sometimes boring, especially when we don't realize the full extent of what we can do. When we don't realize we can change the world, we can build pyramids, we can do some wild shit. Not just change the world, we can change reality. When we have no knowledge, no understanding of the extent of our power, and we think that reality is this day-to-day, go to work and just survive, it's boring. So we create struggle to make life interesting. But we don't have to. We just have to wake up to the fact that we can do anything. So, how to get started? This is maybe what you've been looking for, right? This is the crux of it. Highly recommend meditation, general mindfulness, and I mean that. That may sound wishy-washy and like, yeah, but what's that gonna do, dude? It's gonna train your brain to be observant, to look for shit, right? So I've got a big stack of books here I'm gonna recommend. This isn't what I recommend you start with, but this one here, Self-Initiation into the Golden Dawn Tradition. Yeah, that's what it's called. At the beginning, this is like it's got too much almost. I wouldn't recommend it as your first one, but the very beginning of this has a really great, I think it's like 12 weeks or something. It's a large number of weeks, taking you through just these mindfulness exercises. And you don't have to sit here alone with your eyes closed meditating. It's out and about. It's go for a walk and pinpoint a specific color and just look out for that color. And then suddenly you will see how much of that color is in your world. Look out for a specific sound. Just focus on that sound and you will see how much of that sound is in your world. It's really quite remarkable because it trains you to notice what you haven't been noticing, which is a big part of the work. There's so much out there, so much opportunity that we just miss because we're not looking for it. So I highly recommend general mindfulness and training yourself to be observant. Take everything in. It is now your job, your full-time job, to be a sponge. And the beauty of this job is you can do it every waking minute, even when you're at work. So while sure, it might be nice to quit your job, go off to the mountains, and spend your full day engrossing yourself, immersing yourself in all this stuff, that'd be great. You don't have to do that. All right? You can work on this stuff around and within your schedule because this is your new full-time job. It's not I go to work and then I study the occult. It's I go to work to study the occult. I visit my parents to study the occult. To learn who I am. To figure out how I react in this situation. To learn how I can change my reaction to this thing that bothers me, such that I can transform my reality. You're a student now. and what you're studying is yourself. So what I would recommend as maybe your first book? Ooh, what do I recommend as a first one? I'm going to do a 2-for-1 deal here. So I highly recommend the Kybalion. If you've ever heard of Hermeticism, this is like a greatest hits of Hermeticism. If you haven't heard of Hermeticism, look it up. It's hugely influential to what we understand as the occult and even modern day spirituality, the New Age movement. So this bad boy was published in 1908, I think, by a mystery author. There's some pretty, I think, strong theories as to who the mystery author was, but there's no solid confirmation. So while the original Hermetic texts can be a little bit dense and hard to find a good translation of, this is a great place to start. So it gives you 7 principles on how the universe works. And while it's not like super easy step by step, it's great philosophical material and a great place to start your pondering. Shout out to the first principle, the universe is mental. Right? So everything around us, whether we create it or whether it shows up because we're paying attention to it, everything around us is a result of our mental state. All right? So another one that I highly recommend that I think you could probably start with is 3 Magic Words by U.S. Andersen. It kind of takes you down the garden path a little bit before it gets to the point, but that is on purpose. It is intentional and it is needed. So, fair warning, you don't get to what the 3 magic words are until the very end, but that's the path you need to take. So this is a great book to start with as well. It's a pretty easy read. It's not overly burdened with, it gets philosophical, but there's not a lot of homework, right? This is more like to open you up to, well, what can I do and who am I really? Highly recommend this. If you want more step-by-step, then I'd highly recommend the Silver Mind Control Method. This I would describe as agnostic. I don't remember this delving into really spirituality at all. This is like cold, hard, what are our brains capable of? This guy's done it. He's proven it, at least to his own satisfaction and satisfaction of his many, many students. And this is a very good, course style, step-by-step, what you can do with your mind. So we're talking improving your memory, which is something I've absolutely done. I used to have really poor memory, and now I don't have to write anything down at all. In fact, I've been talking to someone recently who describes themselves as having really poor memory. And I'm remembering conversations that we had 6 months ago, and I'm blowing their mind. With the tiny little details as well. So I can tell you that much, if nothing else, your memory is going to improve greatly. So I highly recommend the Silver Mind Control Method. You can do some weird shit with it. Some cool shit. It's good stuff. Then if you want, this is more like a bonus honorable mention. If the Kybalion really resonates with you, then you can find one of the many translations of the Corpus Hermeticum. There's a lot of translations. They're all pretty different. Some are more academic, some are a little easier to understand. This one is The Way of Hermes, translated by Clement Salomon. It's just the one that I chose. There's lots of different ones you can find. I also recommend the audiobook on Audible, which is I think it's the Kybalion collection or something like that. So it includes a Kybalion and a translation of this bad boy and another text, I think it's like a 5-in-1 thing. It's interesting. Some of it's pretty dense, but if you like audiobooks, it's like this all-in-one thing. It's pretty good. Then, I highly, highly recommend The Ra Contact. So this is the more recent, republication of it. They originally came in, I think it was 5 smaller books with some editing, so you missed out some of the stuff, and this is everything. So a quick rundown of what this is. In the mid-'80s, I think it was, a group of 3 individuals channeled a being calling itself Ra. And it has some really interesting things to say. It's a lot more sci-fi than you may be expecting from occult readings, right? But it really resonates with me. It kind of ties everything together. It's a lot of like the maybe unnecessary history of why is this the case, but it ties things together like chakras and like explains past lives and a whole bunch of things you may be interested in. But it goes pretty heavily into what I would describe as the reason we're here and the mechanics of why we're here and what we're meant to do and what happens after this life ends. I find it really, really comforting and fascinating. And I'll look, I can't recommend it enough. It's absolutely fantastic. Then, of course, the one I said before, if you want to get into, this is kind of your more traditional occult ritual kind of stuff. There's like a little bit of absolutely everything in here. So astrology is included in this as well. I think it goes into tarot. I hope it does, because I want to read more about tarot. Tarots are really, look, we'll get into tarot later, dude. Oh my God. I'll tell you one thing though, like astrology, tarot, Jewish Kabbalah, the tree of life, all the same thing. Just different ways to explain it. What is it? Put simply, it's the DNA of our mental spiritual complex. That's a conversation for another time. All right, so the most important book you will need to study the occult is a notebook. Write down everything and anything and everything rather. Keep track of your thoughts, keep track of your insights, because I promise you what's going to happen is you'll hear something and you'll go, that's interesting, I need to study that more. And like you'll understand it, but it'll be dense. You won't know how to use it. And then maybe 3 months down the line, that knowledge will unlock. And nothing will have changed. Like you'll go back, you'll read something you've written, and you'll go, oh shit, that's what that means. It's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. And this is why this stuff is so hard to teach. And look, you can be guided, and some aspects of it, like the processes, you can be taught, but it is your journey. And you can get insight from people who've got no idea what they're saying, right? Like something will just click for you. Very quickly, you'll start to appreciate the difference between knowledge and wisdom. So keep track of your thoughts, go back, audit yourself, and experiment. Highly encourage experimentation. I feel like this is something that doesn't get talked about too much. So we're taking control of our reality here. We're taking control of our thoughts, and in turn taking control of our reality. To what end? Let's test it out. Let's go, okay, yesterday really sucked at work. I hated it. Let's go over it. Why did I hate it? Why is that pushing my buttons? How can I change the way I think or change what I think to make that a better experience? What would I have to change up here to have a good day at work? And then test it. That coworker who gives you those shits, why? Is it because they remind you of a younger you? Is it because they remind you of your parents? Is it because they're living the way you wish you could, but you hold yourself back from? So how can I change up here to make that a better experience? All right, guys. Throw yourself up in the comments. Throw yourself up. Who's ever said that? Anyway, get in the comments. Ask all the questions you want. I'll do my best to reply to everyone. Because I think that's another important part of all this, is to share the knowledge. As much as it is difficult to teach this stuff, I can't just give you my understanding, my wisdom. That has to bake within you over a period of time. I do believe that we should all endeavor to work together. Now more than ever, man. Because we're living an isolated existence, more and more. Over the past 5 years especially, you know why. But even before that, it was gearing up. We're isolating ourselves, we're being encouraged to isolate further. So now, more than ever, it's the time to come together and to help each other out. All right, guys. As always, take what resonates and discard the rest.